Hey guys, it's your boy, Walton. So, this is a fun one. RestPass and I recorded this episode of Vapor Work Podcast, episode 36, with your boys. Just me and RestPass. We forgot to let Peachy know what time we were recording because we recorded early on Tuesday morning. When we recorded, we did not think much was going to change on the Survivor Series card. Well, I woke up this morning and we found out that Becky is out of the champion versus champion match against Ronda Rousey and has been replaced with Charlotte, who, if you've been listening to this podcast, you guys know that this is what I wanted the main event of WrestleMania 35 to be. So they're pulling that one early. And then Daniel Bryan won the WWE Championship against AJ Styles and has apparently turned heel. We are trying to get a time to kind of record new updates for this episode, but this episode for most of the parts are out of date. But we are going to try to do a quick, maybe a 20-30 minute podcast to just address the changes and update our predictions. But if not, it's just a piece in time, a moment in time is what this episode is going to be. So enjoy it for what it is, and hopefully you'll hear some of our reactions when we record this week, probably live during Survivor Series. So enjoy the episode, guys. Alrighty, ladies and gentlemen, welcome to episode, RestPass, what episode are we on? Because I forgot to look it up beforehand.
36.
36. I can't even think of a sports player with 36. That's the number.
Brian Westbrook.
Westbrook, thank you. Episode 36 of Vapor Work Podcast with your boys, RestPass, Peach, and Walt. And this is a very extra special edition of Vapor Work Podcast because someone on the podcast forgot to let Peachy know what time we were recording this week.
That's what happens when we start talking in side text instead of the group text.
Well, yeah, just because we're recording like early Tuesday morning, just because of timing and things like that. So, Peachy, he works overnight, or not overnights, late nights. So he's usually asleep by now, and I meant to text him to say, hey, we're going to do this Tuesday morning. I'm not sure if you want to get up for it, because we were talking about doing it at 7:38 in the morning, which is rough. I'm not going to deny that, but so forgot to do that. So for this fun episode, RestPass and I are going to make Peachy's predictions for him. So we're talking Survivor Series.
Yes.
It's one of the big fours. We kind of decided last minute.
Hold on. I'm doing good. Okay, go ahead.
You're doing good. Oh, I forgot to ask how you're doing. How you doing? Oh.
All right, good.
But
I'm sorry, I cut you off, and I know you're completely lost now.
Nah, it's fine. We're doing Survivor Series, one of the big fours. We realized kind of going in, this was just kind of, we threw it by the way. Oh yeah, hey, you want to do Survivor Series predictions this week? Because here's what I was thinking for this one. I don't care as much about the Survivor Series as I did, I think, last year's and even the year before's. But because it was jammed right after you had Women's Evolution and then Crown Jewel, and they were just promoting the shit out of that. So this one barely got any promotion for being one of their big fours. I know they did the travel packages and stuff for this too. There's an NXT.
Right.
Side note, we should probably also give our NXT predictions during this as well.
We
didn't talk about this beforehand, but
I assumed.
Fair enough. But I just feel like there was no promotion around this, no time for really any build-ups. Now, the nice thing I will say is you don't need a lot of build-up for the way they do these Survivor Series now. Brand versus brand. You don't. I mean,
yes and no. I enjoyed the back and forth of last year, which they had to kind of cram that in this year. I'm not a fan of the new way they do Survivor Series. I just go back to calling it bragging rights and let this be what Survivor Series should be. I don't like the brand versus brand for Survivor Series. I just don't.
I will say there is an ounce taken away from it just because now you have the co-branded pay-per-views all the time.
Yeah.
So it is kind of taken away, these guys see each other all the time now. But I like it just because a lot of Survivor Series matches tend to get forced. Very rarely did you have a good like 5-on-5 Survivor Series match where all 5 people made sense.
Recently,
yes.
Yeah,
yes,
the way
recently.
they used to run it was better. There was a lot more groups, factions. Good guys and bad guys were a little bit more defined than they are now. So I can understand that. You know, you have a good guy that was a bad guy last week and is going to be a bad guy again in 2 weeks. I can understand that a little bit. But see, the biggest problem was, and again, like you said, it was forced. Maybe I care more about it being brand versus brand if there was matches to get these guys in over a course of weeks and lobbying for position and stuff like that. Like,
well, yeah, you didn't have the chance to do it this time. I think they did that before. No, they were doing it for team captains for some of the matches. But I also like the champion versus
was just like thrown in and in. I don't know. It just
I
almost would have rather the champions pick.
I like the champions versus championships aspect of it. Like, I think it's a.
I like that. What I'm saying is, you have, let's say, AJ Styles picks the Survivor Series team. He's not on it. He picks it. Then you have, Shinsuke picks the tag team. You know what I'm saying? You kind of do that a little bit.
Or
you
would have the tag team championships pick the.
Oh yeah, that's true.
Yeah,
that could also be it.
Yeah, that would make more sense.
Well, but either way, like, Brock Lesnar, okay, he's not on TV enough. So you have Paul Heyman come out and announce them. Yeah. Or you have Seth Rollins do it. You know what I mean? Just say he's the captain and he's the one supposed to be holding this together. Even if you wanted to not have AJ Styles and Lesnar focus on it, then you let Rollins and Nakamura be the ones heading up their teams. You know what I mean? Making sure everything's fine. I don't know. Some of it's so random. Like, you have captains who are on the team and then captains who aren't on the team. And they had to squeeze it into, like a 2-week.
Yeah, it was a 2-week time frame between Crown Jewel and this. Yeah. So we're going to go over all the all the matches for it, but we're also going to go over NXT, which, as you would probably expect, is going to be the highlight of this weekend. I'd be more surprised is the typing I hear you doing looking up the NXT matches?
Yeah. Yes, that I forgot about it too, like we talked about. So
yeah, we're really prepared for this one. The one thing I will say, and this will be just kind of a heads up, is that there are going to be spoilers. So we are recording this Tuesday morning. Right now, SmackDown has not announced the competitors for the rest of the competitors for their tag team Survivor Series match, and I am not sure where everything stands with the War Games TakeOver paper or matches. I think all the matches are announced. I'm not 100% sure, so just kind of a little bit of a spoiler warning if you're still trying to watch TV and get all your information there.
Yeah. Well, is this even going to get posted today or probably tomorrow?
I'm going to try to get it today. We'll see.
Well, either way, then yeah, this might be out before SmackDown and NXT. I'm going to purely go off of what I keep seeing, and it sounds like NXT is going to be a 4-match card, right? Is that what
I read? Yeah.
But
so
let's predict that other one just in case.
Well, the 5th match I heard is going to be taped for TV next week.
Well, let's predict it then.
I was going to predict it anyway. Okay. So first match, we'll go with that one: Cassius Ohno versus Matt Riddle.
Yes.
I'm really excited for this one. I love the way I love how Ohno is now basically the grandfather of NXT almost. Like, he's just the old veteran. I don't think he's ever going to get really called up, and he's just going to be that old guy, that seasoned veteran in the NXT for the new guys to come in and basically beat. So Matt Riddle's going to win this one, in my opinion. I'm excited to see him. So I saw Matt Riddle live, I think, once at House of Hardcore. It was excuse me, I am sick. So it was Royal Rumble weekend. It was Riddle versus Aries. Probably match of the night. Really good. The biggest thing I'm curious about with this match is if Riddle is going to go barefoot.
Why wouldn't he?
I don't know.
He won
It didn't work
barefoot
out
in his first NXT match.
He did, but this is now you're stepping the game up a little bit. So
For another pre-taped NXT match.
yes. I don't know. I'm just curious how he's going to end up if he's going to keep going with the barefootness. So
Okay.
I got Riddle. Who you got?
I got Riddle. I mean, I'd love to say Cassius Ohno. Honestly, if Riddle had wrestled more matches, and this was not happening, either A, being taped right before TakeOver, or B, at TakeOver, I would think there's possibly a chance that Ono goes over first, so then Riddle can ultimately go over. But they're not going to have him lose on NXT or the pre-taped NXT. They're just not going to.
Yep, I agree with that. So yeah, I got Riddle. We both got Riddle.
Now, is this where Peachy
yeah, so
Ono purposely to be different from us, or?
I think he goes Ono just because I don't think he knows Riddle. He's seen Ono live. I think he kind of likes him a little bit. I was going to say he would think Ono would win. Not just to go against us, just to...
Right. Well, hopefully he won't have heard this. I know, it's funny. Like, he actually listens to this. By the time we ask for it. But that's the one thing for those of you keeping track at home, because we're not keeping track here. Kidding, we are. These are not Peachy's picks. These are what we're guessing he's going to pick. But I'm also guessing he's going to pick Ono.
Yeah, we will get his official picks.
Yeah.
So next match we'll go with Aleister Black versus Johnny Gargano. I think this has been said online. I don't know if you did it in any of your articles for your power rankings you do for We Podcast and We Know Things. But the way they turned a freak Aleister Black injury into an amazing storyline has been incredible.
Oh my god. Yeah.
I can't believe Johnny Gargano, he's a heel, but he's not a heel.
Yeah.
It makes perfect sense on why he took out Aleister Black. Because he wanted his one-on-one shot with Ciampa for the title. It's incredible. I'm saying Aleister Black's gonna win, just because I think at this point I think this is the point Johnny Gargano needs to win. But I think Aleister Black is going to actually end up winning.
Well, I will go back a little bit. You saying about me talking about on these things, on the power rankings. Not only did this storyline come out of a freak accident, literally the way NXT has been since it has been so refreshing. They used it to further every storyline. Every single one.
Yeah.
Cassius Ohno, Matt Riddle. That thing got led up because of this. Lars and EC3 led up because of this. Because of people accusing other people. Things like that. Even the Velveteen Ciampa. That happened like a snap of a finger. Why? Because Velveteen... He said, it was Ciampa that did it. The whole fucking, oh my god, why can't I think of her name?
Nikki Cross.
Oh my god, I don't know why Cross was not coming. I wouldn't say Nikki Baszler, and obviously it's Shayna Baszler. Nikki Cross, the whole Nikki Cross thing with her coming out, everything, the way they did it and make it all intertwined. And the funny thing is, it makes the most sense.
It does.
It makes the most sense. I realize Ciampa attacking him makes the most sense, but obviously they were not going to go in that direction. I know a lot of people thought, oh no, until he started talking about the shiny new toy. But Gargano makes the most sense. Gargano was so incensed with getting him one-on-one. Why the hell wouldn't he take out Aleister Black? It makes sense. And like you said, it doesn't make him heel. It just makes him a desperate guy. That's all it is.
Well, that's the one thing NXT I think does great is that they really don't have like the heel face setup they have. It's not, and I think this is why the main roster stuff gets a lot of crap. Is you have to have you can't have these in between guys, to where Johnny Gargano, he's in between. He really hasn't changed anything. He's not fighting dirty or anything like that. Really,
right?
he has his reasonings, and his reasonings side on the side of being bad because of the way he's being perceived. But like on the main roster, you have to have these hard cuts for the more mainstream audience to see. Okay, they're the bad guy. Right. Like if you were to show this match to somebody, just new into wrestling, I would say they would think Aleister Black's the bad guy.
Yeah.
Especially because of how the crowd's going to react, like all that stuff. Like it's going to be a great match. Like it might be the match of the night. Like I don't know if the War Game, like it might be the match of the night for me.
It might. You know what? Looking at them, it might. And I was actually going to say real quick, I loved like the subtle change to Candice LeRae. That now she's coming out in like dark.
Oh, I haven't even seen it.
She's come out a couple of times. She's complaining because Nikki Cross telling her to stay out of their business and stuff like that. But like, yeah, she's come out with like darker lipstick. You know what I mean?
Really?
Like it has like that little bit of like
that's cool.
A heel turn dress without really being a heel turn kind of thing. Because she has every right to be upset. Like, why is she sticking her nose in our business kind of thing? So that has been cool to see too. But you went with Black. I don't want it to affect my pick. I'm going to go with Aleister Black. I'm going to go with Aleister Black purely because I think in the overall grand scheme of this, he's the face, and I don't see this being like a 3 out of 4 heel winning thing, and that's literally my logic. It's a 50-50 coin flip for me. I'm literally going with Black because I feel like he's more of the face in this match, even though the crowd might not react that way.
Yeah, I think what's his name's going to get a better reception. Yeah. So, alrighty, next match is Shayna Baszler versus Kairi Sane for the Women's Championship. 2 out of 3 falls match. Shayna Baszler's coming in as champion. I was surprised at this title change. I want to say Kairi Sane's going to get the win. But I don't know. Because I don't know if I'm going to see that. Like, I can see them flipping the titles back and forth just so that they had a big title change on Evolution.
Right.
So I can see them flipping them back to Kairi Sane, but I can also see them keeping it on Shayna Baszler and then someone else getting the title run after her. Yeah. But I'm going Kairi Sane.
I gotta stick with Baszler. I've been a huge fan of hers.
Something we also forgot. Go ahead, explain it, and then I'll bring it up
we'll go back to predicting Peachy's pick for the last one. Yeah, I just realized we didn't do that either. I'm going with Baszler. I think once this was named a 2 out of 3 falls match, and I know it's easy to fall into that trap, but I think once it was named a 2 out of 3 falls, I think this almost guaranteed that Baszler was going to hold on to it.
Yeah.
I know it's that whole thing. You're supposed to think there's no way Sane can beat her 2 out of 3 times, but I was happy they had Baszler win at Evolution, but I was also upset because I was hoping Baszler would make her way up to the main roster. But now that they have 3/4 of the 4 horsewomen down there, that might you might see them get a little bit more run together. I'm sure Sane will probably pick up some type of like DQ victory in the 2 out of 3 falls, and that's how she'll get one win. But I see Baszler ultimately going over. And then I'll start off Peachy's prediction for Gargano and Black. I'm gonna go Black for Peachy. I think he's gonna go Black.
I think Gargano.
Really?
Yeah, okay. I think he likes Gargano.
I thought I feel like I remember him saying Black's name multiple times under other predictions. That's the only reason why I'm kind of leaning towards it.
I think he's gonna go Gargano. Alrighty,
well, we shall see. And then the women's
women's match, I think he's gonna go Baszler.
Yeah, me too. I think he's going Baszler.
So I'm the only one picking Kairi Sane?
Yeah, in our predictions, yes.
Yeah, in our predictions and Peachy's fake predictions.
Yeah.
All right, match number 3, Tommaso Ciampa versus Velveteen Dream. I don't know, man. Like, is it Dream's time? Like, so here's the thing. like if I don't know, man. This is difficult. Feel free to chime in with any of your thoughts because I'm still thinking about it.
Okay, well, while you're still thinking, I think this is clearly clear cut, not even a chance. It's going to be Ciampa. I don't think there's even a bit of a chance. I think Velveteen, every time we predict these matches, we're like, Ricochet's going to win this match, but, if they really want to launch Velveteen, they'll have him win this match. You know what I mean? Like, I feel like that's a lot with Velveteen. I feel like they put him in there purely because they have the Gargano Black. I could see Sullivan kind of being involved in this match in some way. Maybe possibly leading to some type of three-way in the future or some stupid shit. I don't know. I think if Velveteen wins the title, and I don't know if I see him being an NXT champion. I see him more as a North American champion there. But if I see him winning a title, I see it more at WrestleMania's NXT.
Okay.
Him and Gargano are both in that same boat as me. Is if one of them actually wins the title, it's going to be a WrestleMania weekend moment kind of deal where they finally got over the hump. So I can't see them wasting what would be an incredible pop from the crowd. And I know it's one of the big four, but it's not SummerSlam and it's not WrestleMania. I can't see them wasting it on the Survivor Series takeover.
Interesting. I want to say Ciampa just because, but I'm just trying to figure out what, I don't know. I'm going to go with Ciampa. I think Dream is in the same boat as Ono, to where he's not the seasoned veteran as Ono is, but he's just in there basically to kind of lose, which sucks.
Yeah.
But I want him to be champion so bad, just because, I think, his presentation, he might be the first guy that changes the title in NXT, similar to, the Smoking Skull belt, Cena's spinner belt,
right.
But hopefully not last 20 years. But I got Ciampa. Who do you think PG has?
I think he goes Ciampa.
I think he goes Dream.
Really? I think he goes Ciampa.
I think he goes Dream. Alrighty. And the namesake of this takeover, the War Games match. Back to the original format as well.
Yes. Thankfully.
Undisputed Era, Adam Cole, Bobby Fish, Kyle O'Reilly, and Roderick Strong versus Pete Dunne, Ricochet, and the War Raiders. War Machine for the adults in the room. But I think Undisputed Era wins this one. I just I don't think it makes sense for Dunne, Ricochet, and War Raiders to win it. And now this is a dumb question, and this is me just forgetting. It's not an elimination match, right?
I don't believe so. No, it's first pinfall.
It's just first pinfall after all the participants are in the
nobody
match.
can win until all 8 are in the ring.
Now, I also believe, and I don't know I forget what the outcome is. I believe there is a match on NXT on Wednesday night this week that determines which team has the advantage throughout the throughout the tournament. I want to say it's Roderick Strong versus Pete Dunne, but I could be wrong.
Yeah, I don't know, read the spoilers, and I watch them week to week, so I don't know. I do know that match was announced. But it was not announced who was going to fight in it and who won or whatever.
Yeah, they have to decide who has the advantage. I'm guessing it's some. I literally forget. I did read the spoilers, but I forget who it is. I'm assuming Undisputed Era will get the advantage because it makes sense because they're the heels of the group.
Yeah.
Who do you got winning?
I want to go Undisputed Era, but I'm not going to. They won last year's, right?
Correct.
So I think that holds into it a little bit. I have a weird feeling that somebody turns. That either O'Reilly, Adam Cole, and Bobby Fish just turn on Roderick Strong because he's not needed anymore now that Fish is back, or that the three of them turn on Fish. I have a feeling there's going to be some type of turn, and that's what's going to lead to the end of the match, or Strong's going to lose, and then they're going to turn on him afterwards. I just have a weird feeling. I don't see them sticking with the four of them for a long time. I feel like it was out of necessity, and now it's kind of run its course with Fish back.
See. I think all four of them. I think they're perfect.
I think so too, but part of me just sees them doing it. I don't know why, but I could. I mean, how great would that be? I mean, it would run its course that Pete Dunne beat Roderick Strong, and then TakeOver I didn't TakeOver. The rest of Undisputed Era just beat him the hell down after the match. Like he's just sitting there, and they're just looking at him like, "What happened? What happened?" They just start beating him the hell down.
I could, if we're talking that, I could see that actually happening with Adam Cole.
Really?
I think it makes more sense. Adam Cole's closer to getting called up probably than the rest. Like, see, now this is why I don't know if they're going to get called up as a group or as individuals.
Right.
But realistically, Adam Cole I think has the best shot of getting called up. Him losing this match and getting beat down by Roderick Strong, Bobby Fish, and Kyle O'Reilly can make a little more sense. Because again, Roderick Strong stepped in for Bobby Fish. Adam Cole really hasn't done much for the group, you can kind of say, other than being the initial mouthpiece. But I could see something like that. But yeah, I just think Undisputed is going to win. I think it also works well for them to also claim that the War Games match is their match.
But then you're almost guaranteeing they're still going to be down next year.
I'm fine with that because like it's too crowded up on the main roster.
It is.
So you get better stories if these guys stay down there longer term.
Right.
Now the only thing that sucks is just for them it's money and stuff like that. Like if they're not making as much as they would be on the main roster.
Yeah.
But yeah, I just don't think now's the time. But you are going to get a call up I think on probably Monday night, just because this is a Big Four pay-per-view. I just don't know who it could be.
Okay.
So, who you said you have the?
I'm going with the War Raiders, Ricochet, Pete Dunne.
I don't know who Peachy would pick. I would say Peachy's probably going to pick Dunne, Ricochet, and War Raiders.
And I think he's going to go Undisputed Era, actually.
Man, we are.
Yeah.
We are not
off on PG. Well, if you remember right, the last time we did this for PG, we were wrong on just about every match because we agreed what we thought PG was going to pick. So we're hedging our bets.
Yeah. Again, so that will probably be the event of the weekend.
That's why we spent more time on that than we'll probably spend on the rest of it. Probably.
So let's get into the main Survivor Series card.
Oh,
the first match, which apparently was announced for the pre-show, which really has high full disclosure. There we go.
Yes.
You don't know the full lineup for Survivor Series.
I don't.
Okay, so this is going to be an experience for you.
It is. I'm reading a website right now that's showing me 7 matches. But it's a lot of TBA.
Yeah, that's where. So the first match is apparently on the pre-show, and it's the tag team Survivor Series match.
That makes sense.
Of Team Raw, which is captained by Bobby Roode and Chad Gable, and contains the Revival, the B Team, Lucha House Party, and the Ascension. That is.
Oh man.
I hate that the Revival is put into this group. Again versus Team SmackDown, and this is a lot of the TBD. So we're recording early Tuesday morning.
Yeah.
The Usos are captains, and the New Day are on it.
Do they have more than 3 more tag teams on that roster?
They have the Bar, but they're in the SmackDown versus Raw title. Yeah. Gallows and Anderson.
Okay, there's another team that's on it.
The who else is in on SmackDown?
That's I have to look it up right now.
This is bad.
Are they just gonna throw a tag team together? That's.
No, I think they do have tag teams. We can't think of them.
A Sanity.
I don't. You might have to just.
I'm looking down the list now. I mean, you got is Shelton Benjamin teamed up with somebody there?
No.
You got Primo and Epico.
They'll probably be in there, honestly.
I'm not seeing another tag team. Looking down the list, R-Truth and Carmella.
Actually, I wouldn't mind them, honestly.
I don't know.
Being...
Ty Dillinger with somebody.
I don't. None of this makes sense.
They don't still. Breezango ain't there still?
Yeah, but Fandango, I believe, is hurt, and I think they're on Raw.
Yeah, I was gonna say I'm not seeing them on that roster. Yeah. So yeah, I don't.
So with all that being said, I say SmackDown wins.
Sin Cara and no, it's just Sin Cara there, right?
Yeah, Sin Cara got moved over.
Yeah, so that's Lucha House Party. Kalisto's in, right?
Yeah.
Yeah. So yeah,
with that being said, I say SmackDown's gonna win.
I do too, purely because of the two teams that are announced already. And then if you do throw Sanity, you throw Gallows and Anderson, and I don't care if you throw Primo and Epico, which will probably be the other team thrown in there. I think on the teams that I'm already reading, I think that the Usos and New Day would beat the rest of them.
Yeah. The only thing I would like to see now, this is both ways. Like Gallows and Anderson, I would want to see as the sole survivors, or the Revival. I'd be really happy if Raw won and the Revival were sole survivors, and they were able to rebuild them back up as a good tag team. But it's the Usos and the New Day are going to win that, especially since this is a pre-show match.
They could have the B team win with Raw. But no, I'm also going SmackDown.
I'm going to say Peachy's picking SmackDown too because of Kofi.
Yeah.
So, alrighty. How do you want to do the rest of this? You want to do the Survivor Series matches first, or the champion versus champion?
Yeah. Let's do Survivor Series, women's, men's, and then we'll go down the champions versus champions.
Well, let's go one that's not champion versus champion. The Cruiserweight Championship match. Buddy Murphy versus Mustafa Ali.
And I don't even have that on here.
Yeah, it got announced. I'm saying Buddy Murphy's going to win because if you've been watching 205 Live, Cedric Alexander is slowly starting to do tease a heel turn.
Right.
And he's going to turn against Mustafa Ali, I think. And I think, I'm throwing this out there now, I think there's going to be a lot of wonky finishes in this Survivor Series. A lot.
Okay.
And I think somehow Cedric Alexander is going to get involved and cost Mustafa Ali the championship. And so Buddy Murphy's going to win this one out for me.
So you mean it's going to be SummerSlam all over again? Bunch of roll-ups and...
No, I'm going even more wonkier finishes.
Well, it wasn't just roll-ups, but it was... They did SummerSlam, right? So why not do Survivor Series the same way, right?
Yeah.
I'll go with Murphy purely because I don't watch it, and you said he was going to win, so... PG's going to go Mustafa Ali just because at WrestleMania he didn't know who he was. So I'm going to say Mustafa Ali for PG. And at this pay-per-view he won't know who Buddy Murphy is, so he'll go Mustafa Ali because he at least remembers his name.
Yep. Alrighty, so now we have the women's Survivor Series match. Now, I'm confused on what the actual lineup is. So... this is what sucks about how they jammed this in within 2 weeks. So right now, I have listed as Mickie James, Nia Jax, Tamina, Natalya, and Ruby Riott on Team Raw side.
Yes.
On Team SmackDown, I have Carmella, Naomi, Sonya Deville, Asuka, and Charlotte. Now, last night on Raw, Alexa Bliss announced she's in the Survivor Series match. So I don't know who
Alexa Bliss didn't announce she was in the match.
Last night she did, I thought.
I thought she announced the people, and then she said the 5th spot is going to go to the winner of Bayley and Sasha, and then after the match she said it's actually going to Ruby Riott.
Oh, okay.
Ruby Riott got the 5th spot last night because she announced that Mickie, Nia, and Tamina were on it. She said Natalya was at home dealing with issues, and then she said the last spot was going to be between Sasha and Bayley. And then they came down and attacked her or whatever, and then they said Ruby Riott was.
So then Team SmackDown, the Charlotte Flair was there last night, but they ran an angle last week to where Charlotte didn't come out and Mandy Rose was there to possibly take her spot.
Right.
Which I think actually like makes a little more sense. Like I don't kind of want to see Charlotte Flair in this match. Just because like
maybe that's why they're throwing. I don't know.
Yeah. So I think Team Raw is going to win. This one. I don't like you're gonna have some wonky interference because you're gonna have Liv Morgan, Sarah Logan, and Alexa Bliss outside. And I think if Charlotte Flair's in there, like Mandy Rose might come down. Like that's what they're setting up. Like Mandy Rose is gonna cost them the match or something. But I think Team Raw is gonna win, especially since Nia Jax is going against Rousey soon for a championship match since she won the Battle Royal at Evolution. Yeah, that's about all I got.
See, I don't know. I was coming with the thought that Raw's team has 4 heels on it, and Natalya. And Natalya, they played the whole thing. She went home to deal with family stuff because the Riot Squad broke her dad's glasses. So part of me was wondering, is Alexa Bliss just going to take her spot, like at the actual pay-per-view? And then just make it 5 heels. But I'm so confused. Like, you look at the lineup on here, and it's no offense to them on here, but Raw's team could literally have Ember Moon, Sasha Banks, Bayley, Nia Jax, and Ruby Riott on it.
Yeah.
That should be this team. And now you have Natalya, Mickey, and Tamina, and it just doesn't make a whole lot of sense. And the SmackDown I can at least understand a little bit more. You know, they're putting their best foot forward as far as the women on the SmackDown roster with Carmella and Asuka and Naomi. And if Charlotte ends up being that to be announced one, then I mean it's tough when you don't know who that person is. You know, because if it was Mandy Rose, maybe I'm going a little bit more to Team Raw. And
Go ahead, pick someone.
I'll go with SmackDown. Just because of the unknown. I don't know who that 5th person is.
Yeah. This is what sucks of how they jammed us in.
Yeah.
This is the exact situation they were trying to get away from when they were doing like the pay-per-views every 2 weeks.
Right.
Like it was just pay-per-view.
Yeah.
And like they just got caught up in it again. I think Peachy's gonna go SmackDown, just because Asuka. That's my only thought.
Yeah, I'll go with you on that.
All right, so now the men's Survivor Series match, which actually makes a lot more sense. You have Team Raw, which is Dolph Ziggler, Drew McIntyre, Braun Strowman, Finn Balor, and Bobby Lashley. Baron Corbin and Leo Rush are at ringside versus Team SmackDown of The Miz, Daniel Bryan, Shane McMahon, Rey Mysterio, and Samoa Joe. What are you thinking?
I'm going to go with Raw purely because I just went with SmackDown, and I don't see one brand winning all 3 elimination matches. So I'm going to go with Raw here. On the surface, if you ignore storyline, Raw has the better lineup. I mean, Shane McMahon, I know he's the best in the world, but
he is the best in the world.
Raw has the better 5-man team. This all goes out the window when Braun Strowman turns his back on somebody, or McIntyre and Ziggler beat the hell out of Strowman, because Stephanie said Strowman can't put his hands on McIntyre. She never said it the other way around. So I could see something like that costing them the match at the end. You know, the 3 of them are left and they beat the hell out of Strowman, and then somehow like Daniel Bryan goes on a run or something like that. Yeah. But I'm going to stick with Raw. I just think the talent is too heavy on that side, and outside of a lot of crap happening, like with Bobby Lashley beating the hell out of Finn Balor, you know, I think Raw's going to win.
I got SmackDown. I think like the storyline they're somewhat building up between the Miz and Bryan, like working together, is I think it's going to be something where kind of similar to, I don't know if it was last year or 2 years ago.
Triple H and Kurt Angle. Was it
No.
Triple H and Kurt Angle?
No, that was last year. No, I'm talking basically Randy Orton and Bray Wyatt when Randy was part of the Wyatt family. Randy took Roman came in for a spear. Randy came in, pushed Bray Wyatt out of the way, and took the spear. And I think you're gonna have something. I think you're gonna have something similar between The Miz and Daniel Bryan against probably I don't even know who of this bunch, because it's not gonna be Braun Strowman. I think Braun Strowman's gonna get disqualified or something like that early on.
Right.
Probably Bobby Lashley is what they're going to end up doing against. He'll be the sole survivor for Raw or something. But, yeah, I think Miz and Daniel Bryan will end up winning, be your sole survivors for SmackDown.
And I know I picked Raw, and I'm not going against that. But if SmackDown were to win, I almost see it happen in the reverse. I see, The Miz, tagging in Daniel Bryan, and then almost pushing him or something, getting him eliminated, and then coming in real quick, and them being up 2-1, basically feeding Daniel Bryan to whoever, and then The Miz coming out on top by catching the guy off guard after he beat Daniel Bryan, kind of thing.
Yeah. This one makes sense, if they had kind of a long term to build this up. I will say, I will say I am happy that the men did not come. Oh, I forgot to bring this up. On Raw last night, the SmackDown women attacked the Raw women.
Right.
Becky Lynch looked such a badass with that bloody nose. Well, maybe we'll talk about that more in the championship match.
Yeah.
But
I was waiting to talk
I'm glad
about
I'm glad the men didn't do it again. I'm glad
Right.
it wasn't that full thing like they did last year or something like that. But yeah, these matches would have made sense if they weren't jammed together within 2 weeks.
Yeah, and I think it would give you a better view of where these matches might go. It's a little bit harder to pick them. Like I said, I literally can see Samoa Joe walking out on his team and costing it. I could see, Shane McMahon being down 4-1 in this match and trying to fight his way back. I see a lot of stuff happening other than Rey Mysterio being the sole survivor.
Yeah.
That might be the only one in here where I'm looking across everything where I'm like, Rey Mysterio will be eliminated. That's almost the guarantee of this match. Out of everybody, Rey Mysterio will be eliminated.
Yeah. Does this main event? Or do you think they do the women's possibly main eventing?
It depends on what the count is. Okay. They're going to go with a 3-3 leading into the final match. It's just going to happen. So it all depends. I just think it depends. Now, see, the benefit they have is if Raw does win this match, and we'll get into this later, but I expect Lesnar to win, kind of thing. So they could flip-flop it, kind of. I'd love to see Ronda and Becky main event it, but they won't, because this one deserves the main event, and it won't. But I would love to see that main event.
All right, let's jump into the champions match since we're bringing them up. So, who do we got? Peach. I can say Peachy's taking SmackDown.
Yeah. He'll probably pick Shane McMahon too.
Yeah,
as the sole survivor.
We, as a side note, we should do for our predictions who we think the sole survivor or survivors are going to be.
Okay, we'll
throw that in there.
I said Raw. So,
well, we don't have to go through it now because
I'm going to go through it real quick. Or you want to put thought into yours? Is that where you?
I was going to put thought into mine.
And that you just basically want to get to work. Happen.
Thoughts and the fact that I want to get to work.
All right, well then put thought into it. We'll get
the podcast isn't paying the bills yet.
We'll get back to it.
Yes. So champion versus championship match. Let's start with probably should be the best match of the night. Rollins versus Nakamura. Rollins versus Nakamura has the possibility of being the best match of the night.
It has the possibility. It probably won't, but it has the possibility of being it.
it feels like every Shinsuke match that I've been excited for is ever since he's been on the main roster has fell flat. So
that's exactly why I said it.
I'm expecting a low blow. Well, so this is really the start of my wonky finishes. So I think Nakamura is going to win because Ambrose is going to come out and interfere.
Okay.
Ambrose isn't on the card. The whole him turning his back against the Shield and Rollins and all that stuff, I just makes sense. He's going to interfere during this match, and I think it's going to cost Seth Rollins, and then Nakamura is going to get the win. Right. I'm assuming Nakamura is going to do a low blow at some point, but that's what I got going on.
Well, speaking of wonky finishes, that's right, I said wonky too. That was actually another thing. I picked SmackDown's women to win, and I know there's the thought that possibly that TBA could be Bayley, could be Sasha Banks. You know, like they could turn their back on Raw. One of them could. So there's also that possibility where they help SmackDown win. So there goes one of my wonky finishes. But as far as Seth Rollins and Shinsuke goes, I'm going to go... This is the bad thing about not being prepared. Right. I'm going to go Seth Rollins.
Fair enough.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think, like, not only that, but, like, the wonky finish, and then Nakamura just needs to win more, I think. I honestly forget that he's U.S. champion. So
yeah, I think Nakamura needs it more, but I think in the overall grand scheme of this pay-per-view that Raw is going to win 4-3, because that's just what happens.
Yeah, I don't even know where my count is at.
And that's what I'm basing a lot of this on. I don't see SmackDown winning 4-3. I see Raw winning 4-3. So for all my predictions to match up, I would need Seth Rollins to win this. So I'm going to go with Seth Rollins.
Fair enough.
Peachy would go Shinsuke.
Yep, Peachy would go Shinsuke. I agree.
Yeah, that's probably the easiest one on here.
All right, tag team match. AOP versus The Bar. I'm going AOP.
Okay.
I think I don't know, like, I think Big Show's going to get involved somehow. I don't know how, but I just think he's probably going to throw Drake Maverick through a table or something. But I think AOP will come out with the win. I definitely think they probably need it a little bit more, just since they are kind of more up and coming, and helps them give some credibility to them. And just especially, like, their size. And if they lose this match, they're just shot right back down to the bottom of the barrel, even though they were all tag team champions. So, I got AOP.
Well, I got The Bar. I felt a little bit that's why the AOP has the titles now, is to lose to The Bar. With the help of Big Show. I think they're going to need the help, so it's going to kind of come off as the AOP only lost because they were fighting a 3-on-3, 3-on-2 battle where Jake Maverick was not helpful to them at all. But it also works out into the whole I need SmackDown to win a third match. and I feel like out of the ones I'm looking at, The Bar over AOP makes the most sense. So I'll go with The Bar.
I think PG's going with The Bar as well.
Yeah, I agree.
Alrighty. What do you want to talk about first? The women's or the men's?
Men's.
Alright. Lesnar versus Styles. Rematch of last year's Survivor Series, where, thank God, last year we almost had Brock Lesnar versus Jinder Mahal.
I wish we would have had it this year.
It was a good match last year. I don't, like, again, I think wonky finish. I think Strowman's going to somehow get involved, and I think AJ Styles is going to get a win. So one of the things WWE's hyping up is that, I don't know if it was in pay-per-view, or no, neither of these guys have only been pinned once in a one-on-one match since last year's Survivor Series. Lesnar got pinned by Reigns, and then Styles got pinned by Nakamura on a SmackDown. And they've only each been pinned once, which shows you how strong they've been booking AJ Styles, which is kind of ridiculous still.
Yeah.
In my mind, especially with what we expected. We expected Styles to be a mid-card guy and then be shipped out when he first came in. I expected that.
But a lot of, like...
Here's a question.
Only pinned. Like, you gotta think about all, like, between Samoa Joe and Shinsuke, like, the multiple times that their matches ended because of stupid finishes.
Yeah.
Like, I realize it's still booking him strong, but it's not like he's getting clean victories throughout the time.
Here's a question for you. Do you think Roman Reigns comes back and interferes?
Is that a real question?
No.
They can't see my face. But
man, that face was incredible.
Oh my god!
It was the look of he just looked at me. He's like, "Did you just say that?" He basically looked like Booker T.
It was disgusting.
Tell me he didn't just say that.
It was disgusting.
No, I think you're gonna have a Strowman interference somehow, and Styles is gonna end up getting the win. Not a full clean win, but I think Styles will end up getting the win, possibly. So
if SmackDown was on Fox, I would pick SmackDown to win this night and maybe Styles to win this match, but they're not on Fox yet.
So you're going with Lesnar?
Yes, I'm going with Lesnar.
I think it's me trying to overanalyze the situation, but you're probably going to be right. But I just have this feeling that it's going to be Styles winning by interference somehow.
I have to start predicting with WWE knowledge and not with who I want to win. And this, I just see Lesnar winning it. I mean, regardless, I just don't see him losing the match. I know that they're overhyping how great of a match this was last year, and I'm not saying it wasn't a good match. It was a good match. It was not a great match.
It was a better than expected match.
Yeah.
Especially with what we were getting with, and I think that's playing into it too, because it's like, oh, we didn't expect anything.
Yeah, and if they had Styles actually put up that big of a fight last year, maybe he'll win it this year. And I think he's going to get completely destroyed. I think Lesnar's going to completely dominate him.
He could, just because, so that way he doesn't have to take any bumps or anything, because if he is going back to,
I see him just
UFC.
Yeah, I just see him just tossing stuff, like, not nearly Cena and Lesnar. That shit show that you watched where Lesnar almost broke his fucking neck the whole time.
Yeah, but
I can see
enough.
it pretty close. I see it pretty close to that.
Yeah. Fair enough. Alrighty, so then the last match of our discussion.
Who did Peachy pick?
Oh, Peachy picked Styles.
Really?
I say Styles.
I'll go Lesnar.
Just to go against the grain. Rousey versus Becky Lynch.
This is main event in our podcast because it should be main event in the pay-per-view.
There's a shot it might, honestly. I would not be surprised if this main events.
See, and if you notice with my picks, there was 3 matches in my mind that might main event this pay-per-view.
The men's Lesnar Styles or this?
Yeah, and I'm going to have the Raw side win all 3 matches. So, in any situation, Raw is going to win in the end.
See, I think there's I don't know what's going to happen here.
Stop thinking with your heart. Start thinking with your WWE head, okay? All
right, Rousey's going to win.
Becky's going to put up the biggest fight that anybody has against Rousey.
I think this might be. I'm hoping this is Rousey's best match to date.
Yeah.
Because she's in the ring with a legitimate, I don't want to say legitimate wrestler. I don't want to undersell every other person she's had a match with. But
no, but it's still fair enough to say.
It's her best opponent that she has been in the ring with. I think Becky is going to do her best. Becky's going to carry the match and be the ring general.
Right.
But Rousey will probably end up getting the win, especially because of how Raw finished this week. Becky Lynch looks such a badass with that bloody nose.
Yeah.
My only concern is if this match actually happens now. Because if Becky legitimately broke her nose, this might be called off.
Nah.
It might just like out of their hands type of thing.
Right.
But the it wasn't even the final shot of like Becky like up like I think she was in the audience, like her like just standing there with the blood like going down her nose. There's a scene where she's in the ring where her entire side of her face is just covered in blood, and her arms, like her like wrist area, like forearm, is just all covered in blood from her wiping it off her face. Looks so incredible. Like that is like that's where I don't know if it was done on purpose. Like I don't know, but it's like Becky looks like a legitimate competitor to Ronda Rousey. And if this would be her first shot, I would think of losing, but I don't see it happening. Just because it's Rousey.
It's one of those things that makes sense for her to lose this because it's somebody from a different brand. It's not going to put a legitimate threat to her title because Becky's not going to come over and compete for her title. You know, it's a way to get a loss under Rousey's belt without her losing the championship or looking weak to an opponent in the future of her championship. So, in that whole point of it makes sense. From a wrestling fan, I would love to see Becky Lynch win. I would love it. I want to see her win. But it's the same as Brock Lesnar. I just don't see Rousey losing. If she loses, then it any future, like if they think her and Charlotte are going to main event WrestleMania,
that's the thing.
It almost puts a little bit there because now Becky has beaten both of them.
If that's the thing too, is that if my prediction of Rousey Charlotte main eventing this WrestleMania, you can't have Rousey lose.
Right.
Charlotte can take the losses, but Rousey can't.
Yeah, you need Rousey to beat Becky. This whole thing to lead up with Charlotte basically either coming back at Becky or coming to Raw, whatever way they do it. But I feel like Charlotte's going to need to avenge herself against Becky before any of that Rousey-Charlotte stuff happens.
Again, going to wonky finishes, I could see Charlotte getting involved and Becky getting the win because Charlotte interferes somehow. Yeah, and then you get a stare off between Rousey and Charlotte. Like that's a possibility, but and then it's never mentioned that Rousey lost or anything. I don't know. But I think up until the finish, this is going to be a really good match. Well, I think it's going to show how much Rousey has like kind of evolved as a wrestler.
Yeah, and to go a little bit to that point though, and like that could lead, like you said about Rousey, that's never going to be pointed out that she lost. Like that can be a whole foreshadowing of WrestleMania a little bit, where Rousey still holds a grudge because the only time she lost was because of Charlotte. You know what I mean? Yeah. It's almost like, oh my god,
what'd you do?
I just hit my hand
on
my headset. But now I can see that being long term, and that would be great for anybody who actually booked long term. But WWE is not one of them.
Nope.
So that would be great for a setup for WrestleMania. But they barely use Royal Rumble to set up WrestleMania anymore, let alone something this far out.
Yeah, like I see, I think I have Charlotte winning the Royal Rumble and then going to Raw to challenge Rousey. But yeah, I don't know what's gonna happen.
Could you picture that though? Let's say we go into Royal Rumble and Becky and Rousey are both the champions, and then they play the old school. Who's she gonna fight? Because you have like that main event WrestleMania match, or go get your title back off Becky.
Yeah, I see Becky holding the title until the Rumble.
Yeah,
I see her holding it till WrestleMania. I could possibly see a Asuka versus Becky WrestleMania where Asuka wins. Finally.
Right.
But yeah, I think I got Rousey winning. Who do you got?
Rousey.
Peachy has Becky Lynch. I think that's just him going against the grain for us.
Peachy goes with Rousey. Peachy ain't going to know our picks, so I'm going off of what I think he would say. I think he goes Rousey.
Well, I'm going to send them the matches and send them our picks like how we normally do in the text message. So
Yeah, how about we don't send our picks? Let's see what he says.
fair enough.
There's literally a recording of what we
can tell him. We can tell him to listen this week's episodes.
There's literally a recording. We can't have cheated them in any way.
So, overall, not really looking forward to this. Like it's the fact of how it got rushed in. Like everything got rushed together. Like there's no time to build any of this up. Like you did get the matches that like I was excited for and I was hoping they were going to build to, like Rollins, Nakamura, Lesnar versus Styles. Well, even though I didn't expect Lesnar to actually have the title,
right.
But the matches all kind of make sense. But it just
it's half shit.
Yeah,
you could say it's half shit.
I feel bad for the people because WWE did travel packages for this. Like, I almost feel bad for those people that they traveled for this. Like this was the one they traveled for.
And that's the thing. The tag team Survivor match, shit. The women's Survivor Series match, shit. The men's Survivor Series match should be interesting. I think there's a lot of storyline in there that'll be interesting to see how everybody coexists with each other. I'm actually relatively interested in that.
Yeah.
There's a lot less of fall guys in this match. I mean, you could probably say Ziggler, Baylor, Rey Mysterio, Shane McMahon, but even then, I can see a lot of those guys make it to the end, other than Rey Mysterio. Authors of Pain in the bar. Rollins Shinsuke would be nice, but yeah, Shinsuke's big matches have not held up, and that's been the problem. And then Rousey and Becky Lynch, I'm excited for. Styles and Lesnar is going to be. I think it's going to be a squash, so I'm more looking forward to Rousey Becky Lynch.
Yeah, and we're going to treat this as every other Big Four pay-per-view. We will probably be giving our live reactions. And by giving our live reactions, we're just going to record probably at our normal time and be watching it on our various TVs at home because we're not doing anything special for it.
Yeah.
Honestly, sure. I'm not even lying. I'm hoping to be in bed by like 9:30 on Sunday night. So
yeah,
that's how excited I am for it.
Yeah, I would love to record by the end of this, but yeah. What's going to end up happening is they'll put Styles Lesnar at the end. Lesnar will kill him and like we just waited for this.
Yeah. But we'll see. It's another Survivor Series. Again, I like the champion versus champion concept. It lost some oomph because of how they do the co-branded pay-per-views now.
And the worst part about it is the worst part, and I know everything's got to be its own individual thing. I guess I get it. They could have used those last two shows to further along this shit better.
Yeah, they could have.
Their little matches and stuff they've had and the size.
You know what they could
have been spots in these matches.
Or you know what you could have done, and the Best in the World tournament. Whoever made it to the final of each side, the Raw or SmackDown side,
was the captain.
They were your captains for Survivor Series.
Right.
That would have been a nice way to kind of start playing into that since you only had a short amount of time to do it.
Yeah.
Now, for the most part, well, no. I mean, Shane McMahon and Dolph Ziggler made it into their respective teams. So,
I mean, it does, but I
still can't believe Shane McMahon is the best in the world.
It wasn't promoted as being that, and that was the thing. If they promote it, this is for a spot in the Survivor Series. You know what I mean? If they push that,
actually, they just did that though. Did you see what they're doing for the Mixed Match Challenge?
And I love that. I love it.
It's
for the 30th entry.
I love and hate it at the same time. I love being unknown about who is coming in at 30 because I'm always looking for that surprise return or anything like that, or like the Rey Mysterio in Pittsburgh in 2014 where we boo the hell out of them.
But that surprise return is just as effective at 29 as it is at 30.
It is, but I like that. Then there's nothing following up.
Right.
Like you're done. You're just going out from there. But again, yeah. Listen, the surprise return works at 15. All right, like honestly, but I always like that. But with that being said, I love that they added some meaning to the Mixed Match Challenge now.
Yes,
because those have been some.
That was my favorite part about that.
Like watching those matches, they're fun. Like the wrestlers are just having fun out there. It seems because there's no real storyline, obviously.
Yeah.
Charlotte Flair destroyed Becky Lynch in the beginning of a SmackDown, speared her through, or the video board right behind the entranceway to start off SmackDown, and she's out there doing a dance off on the Mixed Match Challenge, which is recorded right after SmackDown, doing the dance off with like R-Truth and Carmella.
Yeah,
it's like, okay, this doesn't make sense in any storyline, but they're having fun with it.
Right.
So, yeah, that's exciting. So we might. I forget who's in the Mixed Match Challenge anyway.
It's gonna be Carmella and R-Truth. They're gonna.
I say probably. I'll go Finn Balor and Bayley. I think they make sense.
Yeah, but Balor is usually like the workhorse. Like he's one of those guys that have found his way as a workhorse of the Rumble. So to
but
put
I can
him
see
in
him
30 is tough.
I can see him coming out as the Demon though, possibly.
Yeah, maybe.
We'll see. We'll discuss that later.
Yeah. All right, real quick, Walt.
What?
Your survivors for these matches.
Okay, let me look through.
All right, I'll run through mine. How about that? I'll run through all 3 matches. I'll run through while you look.
Okay.
I'm going to say it's going to be the Usos and New Day. I think both of them. I don't care who else is on the team. It's going to be them for the tag team. I think I picked SmackDown to win, so that would make sense. I'm going to go with Asuka as the sole survivor again in the women's. And then for the men's, I'll go Bobby Lashley and Dolph Ziggler. I'll go random.
All right, not bad. I went SmackDown for the tag teams, and I'm gonna say, how are we doing this? Do we get a point if we get the survivors correct?
No, this is for fun.
Just for fun. Okay, I'll go Gallows and Anderson, even though they're not announced. I would like to see a bigger push with them. For the women's, I'm gonna go with Ruby Riott.
Okay.
She's been getting a somewhat decent. I'm going to go with Nia Jax and Tamina. They featured them pretty heavily during Evolution. I think it's going to possibly continue. So I'm going, especially since Nia Jax is going against Rousey for the women's title. It's at least Nia Jax. I'm going to go Nia Jax and Tamina.
Okay.
And then on the men's side, like I said, I think it's going to be Miz and Daniel Bryan are going to be your sole survivors. Right. Maybe Shane McMahon mixed in there a little bit, but I'm going Miz and Bryan as your sole survivors.
Okay.
So, alrighty. So, anything else you got going on, or no?
No.
Getting ready to go to bed?
Yeah, a little bit.
Yeah.
You go to work, I go to bed. Peachy will wake up in a couple hours and find out we did this.
Yep. So, but alrighty. With that being said, I mean, I have nothing else. I don't know what we're gonna do for next week. Peachy should be here next week. Hopefully, we'll remind him and tell him.
If we do it on the correct day.
Yes, Peach. I apologize for not texting you. I'm gonna also blame Mike on this as well, RestPass, because you didn't text him either.
I did not, but you started the side text asking me about this. If you remember right, I could show the proof that you started the side text conversation.
Especially when you said you couldn't record on our normal night because you were holding the flag at the Eagles game.
Yeah, exactly. That's
more
awesome than recording this. And if we recorded this episode on Sunday, we would have known less about these matches than we do right now.
Yeah, true.
So you're welcome.
Yeah. Listen, I still don't think we know a lot about these matches.
No,
and it's Tuesday.
I think a lot's going to change. You're going to get they're going to change in the pre-show of the Survivor Series.
Yeah. But yeah, nothing else. We hope you guys enjoyed our predictions, and I'm sure RestPass, you'll post them out on the Facebook page.
Always do.
On Sunday before. You gonna post on Saturday for the War Games predictions?
Oh, you mean like live reaction posting?
Not live reaction posting.
Oh, put our predictions out? Oh, our predictions will be out well before Saturday and Sunday.
Okay, perfect.
As long as Peachy gives us predictions, that's the.
I'm sure he will.
Then.
I will, or he will.
Yeah.
If not, we'll just use ours.
Yeah. Sure.
So, but already again, thank you everyone for listening. We have a good week. Enjoy Survivor Series this coming Sunday, and we'll catch you guys next week. Have a good one, guys. Later.
Sorry, Peach.
I'm sorry, Peachy.